Welcome back to the Dallas Regional Championships. We are going to take a little step away from the Masters Division now and do something that most streams don't seem to get their hands on. We're going to actually stream the Juniors and the Seniors finals today. So we're going to start it off with the Juniors. Are you excited for this one?
I am very excited. You know, one thing I love about the Junior division is that I think a lot of them are in it more for just the fun because they love Pokemon. They haven't really gotten to the super ultra competitive mindset that we see in a lot of Masters.
I think there's some, though, they're really trying to get that competitive mindset in now, and then when they move up to the Seniors division, that carries on, and they're just really playing these tournaments for a long time. We see it as a family game as well. We've got sort of siblings being taught by their older siblings, and it ends up in this really interesting kind of pattern of teams playing together.
Yeah, it's a great family activity, so I'm kind of jealous, actually. That sounds really awesome. But tell me about who we have playing today.
Yeah, we have Parker Hurley should be playing on the bottom side of your screen. She's going to be playing Tiara Yeung. So both players have come through their division, still getting to a finals. It's still an accomplishment they want to be talking about. And I'm quite interested in both of their teams, actually. We've seen one, it's been talked about before, particularly up in the Masters division, and it's still a very good team. And the other team got a couple of things we haven't seen at all in the Masters division. We'll be interested to see if the juniors have found a niche for their kind of play style.
Yeah, you know, looking at both of these teams as we wait for these trainers to enter team preview, they really look like teams I'd be expecting to see in the Masters division.
They definitely are. These juniors are getting better every single year. People, look down at these divisions and don't take them seriously, but these players who do well at the young age, they're going to level up and do well. Like we saw Carson yesterday, came out of the seniors division, levels up to the Masters division, and takes out Enosh in a regional tournament. So it's nothing to be mocked or taken lightly, really, at all.
Definitely. Well, while these trainers are waiting to get started, what can you tell me about Parker and Tiara's teams?
I'm going to start off with Parker's team. She's using something that got picked up on a couple of people's YouTube channels. It's going to be a Trick Room team. It's very kind of exciting, and it uses a Pokemon we haven't seen yet on our stream in the Torkoal.
Oh.
That's going to be doing a lot of damage, so that's something that Tiara's definitely going to have to answer with. Tiara's team, though, got something we have seen on the stream, using a little bit differently. It's going to be the Porygon Z is kind of the focal point of that team.
Yeah, so both trainers... Whoa, Porygon Z, actually. Okay, for a second my brain processed that as Porygon 2.
That's a reasonable thing. We see a lot of Porygon 2.
We do see a lot of Porygon 2, but we haven't seen a lot of Porygon Z. I think we've talked a little bit of the option of having that Z conversion on it. We saw that on stream yesterday. I think it's possible we might see it here, but I don't know. That's a very difficult strategy to sort of comprehend, to play, to manage the board well, and to see something that high level from the juniors. That makes me scared as a master. When they level up, that's something to definitely contend with.
Oh yeah, it's impressive. So now we have them up on the screen. We'll run down the teams in full. On Parker's side, we've got the Porygon 2, the Hariyama, Lilligant, Torkoal, Drampa, and Oranguru. So Oranguru, that popular partner for Torkoal. On Tiara's side, we have Kartana, Gastrodon, the Alolan Muck, Arcanine, Tapu Lele, and Porygon Z. So very offensive, I think, from Tiara, and a very clear Trick Room option from Parker here.
Yeah, so if Tiara is going to win this matchup, she really needs to think about which Pokemon she's bringing and how she's going to shut down Trick Room. Looking at her team, I don't really see any obvious choices to shut down Trick Room. Her best option might be to just try and deal enough damage to knock out that Oranguru, to possibly knock out that Porygon 2. But as we've seen in past games, that's just so difficult. That Alolan Muck will definitely help with the Oranguru. If it has a move such as Knock Off, that could certainly be great, but instead it looks like Parker is leading with something that honestly is the exact opposite of what Trick Room does.
Yeah, she's bringing the Torkoal and Lilligant on the field, while on Tiara's side of the field we see Arcanine, Tapu Lele. Very, very aggressive. I like it's a different option. It shows that although it looks like a Trick Room team, just the addition of Lilligant really allows it to pivot around and play a very, very fast mode indeed.
Yeah, so as you've said, we have seen the Torkoal-Lilligant combo make its rounds online. I think it's one of those combos that a lot of people think about, but it looks like Tiara doesn't have a great answer to it. That Arcanine, obviously, it's a fire type. It will be able to deal some amazing damage to that Lilligant if it could attack. We see Lilligant doing exactly what it's known for right off the bat.
Yeah, Lilligant going for a Sleep Powder, knowing Arcanine is the threat. Of course, with the Sun Up, it is helping the Arcanine. on Tiara's side of the field, but it can't be attacking if it's asleep. And we are going to see a big Z move right on turn 1 coming out from Tiara's side. So it's going to be the Psychic Z move from the Tapu Lele.
Shattered Psyche from that Tapu Lele, going to try and break one of the Pokemon on Parker's side of the field, send them bouncing around the psychic dimension, that Torkoal being smashed through reality of all things, and it knocks it out. So a ton of damage, limiting Parker's ability to capitalize on that sunlight. She'll only have 5 turns of it unless she's holding an item that boosts the length of sunlight to really have her Lilligant be the fastest thing on the field. We already saw her put that Arcanine to sleep. I think the Tapu Lele might be next, unless Tiara has a way to stop it. Hariyama, though, is certainly an interesting Pokemon to bring out on the field right now with that Tapu Lele and with that Psychic Terrain still active. I think Tapu Lele really needs to go to sleep this turn if Parker has a chance of doing well.
Yeah, what we're going to see here is Lilligant's going to be able to put Tapu Lele to sleep. It would be nice if Arcanine stays asleep for a little while. Of course, Psychic Terrain limiting the potential fake out coming out from Hariyama, and we're just going to see the Arcanine leave the field absolutely immediately. Tapu Lele going for the Protect, doesn't want to get put to sleep, so next turn Parker has 2 things to target with the Sleep Powder, which makes it a little bit harder. We're going to see Hariyama immediately follow up with the Knockoff. Going to target that Muck, using the use Muck is probably more well known for, again, getting rid of the Figgy Berry though, which is going to be really important. That huge amount of recovery immediately taken off the field as an option for Tiara.
A great switch by Tiara there. She wanted to have 2 Pokemon that threatened both the Lilligant and the Hariyama out on the field. So Parker really has to think, well, which Pokemon do I want to put to sleep? Losing the Figgy Berry on Muck is unfortunate, but I don't think it'll stop Tiara at this point in time. It might come back to hurt later on. Lilligant, though, using that Sleep Powder, clearly Parker thinks that Tapu Lele right now is the bigger threat.
Yeah, the Tapu Lele is going to be going to sleep, but Muck able to do some good damage. Of course, poison type attacks will be super effective on that Lilligant. It's going to be going for the Gunk Shot, which misses the Lilligant, and Hariyama getting the chance to close combat Muck, taking a tidy little knockout on it, and that levels up the Pokemon count at 3-3. So Parker finding a way back into the game. Tapu Lele now in fact asleep, and whatever comes in next turn is definitely at the threat of being asleep himself.
Definitely a little bit of luck there on Parker's side of the field. We don't know Lilligant's hold item yet. I know that the popular set I've seen is Focus Sash, so it might have not made as big of a difference that turn. We would have still seen Lilligant possibly persist onto this turn, giving Parker a chance to either attack or possibly put one of these Pokemon back to sleep. But you certainly don't want to move like that to miss.
No, it's really important that you do get damage down on the Lilligant. Of course, the sun will be ending, and it's trying to capitalize on that time it has. Both the Pokemon actually asleep now on Tiara's side of the field, so Lilligant free to go for an attack. It's going to start off the turn with a big Leaf Storm, doing a large amount of damage to that Tapu Lele, which is going to be important. Arcanine does wake up, and it shows the burn up as soon as it wakes up, targeting that Lilligant. It's going to bring it down to the Focus Sash, clinging on with that singular point of health. And Hariyama, not under any threat right now, is going to be able to get some big damage down. Of course, Burn Up, changing the typing. Hariyama starting with the Knockoff into the Arcanine. Going to reveal the item if it has it, which it doesn't appear. It's something that can't be knocked off, so curious decision, I think.
Yeah, so that's an indication that that Arcanine is most likely carrying some form of Z crystal. It could be the Firium Z. That would certainly be great given the fact that we have seen sunlight out on the field. That'll boost damage that that Z move could do. But maybe not in this game. We did already see the Shattered Psyche from that Tapu Lele. Lilligant free, still the fastest thing on the field to put that Arcanine right back to sleep.
Arcanine going to be taking some sleep, and I think Parker needs Tapu Lele to stay asleep this turn, most certainly. If Hariyama can catch it with maybe a knockoff, it might be enough. Obviously not going to be doing as much. Tapu Lele does remain asleep. Hariyama follows up with the knockoff into the Tapu Lele, gets a critical hit, and it is a knockout for Parker, so getting the Pokemon count at 3-2, but this turn is where the sunlight fades. So now that Lilligant not able to do as much, no Torkoal being able to come back in for Parker, obviously getting knocked out on turn 1, and the weirdness also disappearing from the battlefield, so the end of Sun and Psychic Terrain all at once.
Yeah, so Hariyama just got that much more intimidating. We already seen Leaf Storm on that Lilligant. So if Arcanine stays asleep this turn, or if Lilligant is just naturally faster than that Arcanine, even without the sunlight, that Gastrodon really isn't in a great spot. Hariyama making great use of its Guts ability, using that Flame Orb, boosting its attack. That critical hit might have actually not mattered against that Tapu Lele. That's something to wonder for Game 2, though, as we see what could be the last turn of Game 3 get underway.
Yeah, Lilligant going for the Leaf Storm. Of course, the special attack drop from earlier in the game means it does miss the knockout, and it allows the held item to be used by Gastrodon. It is going to be the Citrus Berry, so only restoring 25% of the health. Arcanine does remain asleep, though, and Hariyama follows up with a close combat into the Arcanine, is going to be doing a large amount of damage, leaving it at a fraction of its health. Gastrodon, finally free to move, does get to use Ice Beam. It's going to target down that Lilligant and get rid of the one remaining hit point that it has after the use of the Focus Sash. So Parker able to bring in her last Pokemon, level up the Pokemon count at 2-2, but the Pokemon on Tiara's side of the field are both very heavily damaged indeed.
Yeah, Parker did a great job that turn identifying who was the bigger threat on the field, knowing that she had Porygon 2 in the back, having the Gastrodon already at significantly lowered health, having the Arcanine at significantly lowered health and asleep, really gives Porygon 2 the breathing room it needs to deal, consistent damage for the next couple turns. So even though she might not win it this turn or the turn after, Porygon 2 isn't threatened by anything on the field right now. So great positioning, and even though we see Arcanine wake up, that Morning Sun actually might make a huge difference in this game.
The Morning Sun, where Arcanine was clinging on, does restore 50% of its health and leaves it as a threat. Hariyama, though, the first thing to move after it, gets the knockoff. Gastrodon retaliating with the Toxic, one of the ways it wears down the Porygon over the slow sort of burn of this game. That's going to be a bit of a problem if this game drags on. And Porygon 2 firing off a tri-attack into that Arcanine. Looked like it was going to get the knockout, but of course that early Morning Sun throwing a spanner in the works there, and Arcanine still on the field to move first next turn as well. No Trick Room coming out of Parker's Porygon in that turn.
Yeah, that's a little bit of trouble for Parker. Knowing that Gastrodon has Toxic means it's probably also carrying a move like Recover. We know that Arcanine has access to Recovery. If Tiara wants to, she can simply use both the combination of that Morning Sun and that Recover and just let those Toxics turns start, accumulating up on the Porygon 2. Yeah, Gastrodon is knocked out now, though.
Yeah, we see that the Morning Sun comes out for the Arcanine. Gastrodon probably trying to get some recovery down on its own. Porygon following up after the Morning Sun. Arcanine getting back up to a good amount of health. Of course, it does get to Tri-Attack, doesn't get the status condition that Tri-Attack can bring. And Hariyama is also on a bit of a counter with that burn ticking down, doing residual damage at the end of each turn. We do see, though, Arcanine just has to cling on and try and wait for these status effects to wear down both of Parker's Pokemon. It's going to be a long haul and a big ask, especially with the PP of Morning Sun, but that's exactly what Tiara goes for again. So probably 2 attacks following up from Parker here, and she's going to be looking for some big damage and maybe some status conditions.
Yeah, so the fact that Parker essentially knocked out that Gastrodon, brought it down to 2 versus 1, really limits how much health can be healed by Tiara each turn. So at this point, combining the damage from that close combat and that tri-attack is actually enough to knock out that Arcanine. So a great play by Parker. She was able to manage her win condition well. She knew that she needed to have it 2-on-1 so she can stop the recovery to deal more damage than the recovery in order to not have to worry about that Toxic becoming a problem.
It looked like a tough game for Parker, definitely in the lead. Losing that Torkoal turn 1 is something this team relies on. But it did still set up the Sun for Lilligant, and with no way to switch the weather around from Tiara, the Sun was able to provide enough support for Lilligant that she got a lot of things to sleep, and even though some of the sleeps were short, she definitely manages to get a lot of value out of that move. So her status condition is something that really stops the damage. The status condition we saw on Parker's side of the field, though, it's something that wears them down with damage. A completely different way to play, and they're going to dive right back into team preview here.
Yeah, if Tiara's going to win this game too, she needs to figure out a way to stop that sleep powder. Looking at her team, I don't see that many options. Something like a Tapu Fini might be awesome here, bringing that Misty Surge with it. The Tapu Lele, while it deals a lot of damage, it's not going to be able to outspeed that Lilligant, especially if we see another Sunlight lead. If Tiara has something like a Lumberry or maybe a Chesto Berry or some other way to outspeed that Lilligant and stop it from setting up so many sleep powders, it'll certainly help her win this game. That should be her primary concern right now. And with the Arcanine and Porygon Z lead, I'm not sure how that's going to work out.
It's definitely an offensive lead, and Parker, even though she had a bit of trouble in the first turn, is going to lead exactly the same as last game. The Lilligant and the Torkoal, a big special attack boost for Porygon Z, though, a lot more offensive than its younger brother, the Porygon 2. It does get the download raising its special attack, so it's going to be doing a lot of damage. Of course, Drought being set up again by this Torkoal is going to benefit the Arcanine as well as the Lilligant. The only Pokemon not really able to capitalize off it is likely going to be that Porygon Z. So both players getting a little bit of what they want, and Parker does have that chlorophyll pressure, is going to be able to put something to sleep, which will be really nice to get her started.
Yeah, I think if I were her, even though it's tempting to put that Arcanine to sleep, knowing that it has that burn-up move, she should target that Porygon Z as she did, because we don't know what it can do, and it seems like the most threatening thing for that Torkoal.
Yeah, Porygon Z staying asleep, moving very fast in the turn. Arcanine free, though, without the sleep powder to burn up. It's going to target down that Lilligant. It's not going to get the knockout because we did see the Focus Sash in turn or game 1, so it's clinging on there. Arcanine burns itself out, and Torkoal free to fire off a full power eruption. That's going to be doing so much damage. A clean one-hit knockout on the Porygon Z, and such a significant amount of damage on Arcanine. Of course, burn up changing the typing means it doesn't resist it anymore, and that's going to be a problem if Tiara does not have a way to stop that Torkoal.
Yeah, an amazing play by Parker there. You know, I think she knew that Arcanine would target her Lilligant with that burn up, meaning that Eruption was free to just deal neutral damage to that Arcanine, boosted by the sunlight, boosted by the same type attack bonus. That was beautiful. Torkoal is certainly the thing to beat right now, though we see that Muck target down that Lilligant, so at least the Muck won't be going to sleep for the duration of this match.
No, Muck removes it with a Shadow Sneak, obviously the priority move. Really good there, does manage to avoid some sleep powders. Arcanine, though, going for the Morning Sun. It's going to heal so much health, of course. It's going to be really nice there. But we do see Torkoal untouched this turn, free to throw out an Eruption. It gets the knockout on the Arcanine this turn and does significant damage to the Muck. Muck activating its Berry, of course, that's going to recover a lot of health. It is going to be that Figgy Berry, a little bit late, the season has just passed. But of course, that's a really good bit of recovery for Muck. Muck does need to start putting some pressure on Torkoal, though. We see them bringing in a Pokemon to replace the fallen one each. It's going to be Hariyama for Parker, and it's going to be the Tapu Lele from Tiara.
Yeah, I think the Morning Sun on that Arcanine was a misplay. Unfortunately, we saw that Torkoal deal so much damage. You know, we knew that the Muck was going to target down that Lilligant, so the Eruption would have been just as powerful as it was that first turn. It just did too much damage. The recovery couldn't have offset it. So possibly a choice by Tiara, maybe not to reveal something like a Snarl or something else on the off chance that there is a game 3, but she still needs to win this game right now. And Tapu Lele targeting that protecting Torkoal is not really the move she needed there.
No, that Psychic going to waste. At least she didn't use the Z move. The Flame Orb, though, knocked off for the Hariyama, so not going to get the Guts boost. It's not going to do too much. It does go for a knockoff into the Tapu Lele. We know it's holding the Psychinium Z, so not doing too much damage, but keeping that Torkoal safe, very, very good. Tiara, though, scouting the Protect, I think, may be free to go for her Z move in this turn, and that may really swing this battle back in her favor.
Yeah, Tapu Lele is certainly the most threatening thing on the field right now. We know that it can knock out that Torkoal with its Z move, and that might be what we're seeing right now. I don't think Tiara would have targeted that Hariyama here, just because it would have been overkill.
It really would have been. Like, Psychinium Z with the Shattered Psyche does so much damage, and you can remove a threat that is neutral damage. So it's going to be going into that Torkoal. We do see it's going to be a one-hit knockout. That's how it was in Game 1, of course. Boosted by the Psychic terrain. No way to change the terrain on Parker's team, but Torkoal removed from the field. Hariyama now free to try and do some damage. It's going to have to weather the storm of a Gunk Shot first from this Muck. That's going to be coming down and doing a lot of damage, though. Hariyama clinging on, getting the poison, though. This will activate Guts on Hariyama. Close combat going into that Muck, and boosted by the Guts, it scores the knockout. So unfortunately, really good play from Tiara to knock off the Flame Orb and not allow the Guts boost, but then the poison coming from the Gunk Shot means it gets the Gut boost, and it manages to knock out the Muck. So a really fantastic turn for Parker there, getting everything she needed.
Yeah, definitely. Hariyama is almost out of health, and that Porygon 2 comes out on her side of the field once again. But Hariyama got that knockout that it needed. Porygon 2 isn't as threatened as Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele, unless it has a move like Dazzling Gleam, which we haven't seen yet, can only target one of these Pokemon. So if Parker's smart, she might be able to predict which one Tapu Lele will target. She can protect possibly, start dealing little bits of damage here and there to stall out this game. That Porygon 2 could also have something like Toxic, or maybe even Recover to just make sure it's out on the field long enough to knock out that Tapu Lele. It was really unfortunate for Tiara that poison just happened to come from that gunk shot. It really did not help her much in this match.
No, Tapu Lele starting the turn off with the Protect, obviously waiting for some damage to come down from the poison, reading the Hariyama Protect as well, so those Protects match this game. And Parker capitalizing on the Protects to throw out a Trick Room with the Porygon 2. The Sunlight fades this turn. Hariyama taking the damage from its poison, not getting knocked out, but Tapu Lele, likely the fastest Pokemon on the field, is going to be weathering the storm of 2 attacks before it gets to move each time.
An amazing Trick Room there from Parker. She knows her win condition. It's simply to knock out the Tapu Lele. And being able to attack with both her Pokemon before it can even move is a huge help. That critical hit is a huge help. Poor Tapu Lele knocked out thanks to a double critical hit. Parker wins, and she is your junior champion for this 2017 Pokemon Dallas Video Game Regional Championship. But, well played to Tiara as well. She really had a handle on her win conditions. She just got a little bit unlucky in that game, too, with that gunk shot.
I think the gunk shot with the poison was the turning point of that game. The one thing we did see from Parker is her delayed use of Trick Room. We talked about it in Masters yesterday, but fantastic play from a junior to know when Trick Room needs to get set up, picking the point in the game where it's going to win her the game. Obviously, that double critical hit helped at the end, but that was definitely something that we see from a very high caliber player.
Yeah, I'm really jealous, actually. I don't think I played at that level when I was a junior.
I know I didn't. I can tell you that.
That game honestly felt like they were thinking, at a very high level, definitely like entry-level Masters level, I think, which just goes to show you how much, how much these trainers have practiced going into this game. So congratulations to both of them. While you want to walk away with that prize, second place is certainly nothing to shake a stick at. It was definitely well earned by Tiara.
It's definitely not, and we've had an exciting juniors finals. We are going to be bringing the seniors finals up in a little bit, so we're going to take a brief break to get them seated and prepared, and I hope it's as good as the juniors finals.
Me too. Please stay tuned, everybody.